We got to do multimedia.
What is this for?
The news gathering and writing class.
Yeah.
Oh, now you tell me you're going to record.
I mean,
I'm not going to be appearing anywhere, am
no.
I?
No, if anything, it'd just be like a picture. No problem, dude. A picture in the
On the website.
newspaper or the website.
If it's good enough, but that's the real thing.
Yeah.
So who had the initial idea to go after to get the grants?
I would say it was a departmental initiative.
The whole department.
Yeah, for about the past 5 or 6 years, we've been trying to find more opportunities for our students to be involved in undergraduate research and to have both support for the research and financial support for the students over the summer, because that's when most of it occurs, or a big chunk of it occurs. We tried to do it continually throughout the academic year, but in the summer we obviously have a big time block that we can do. There is more than one grant, so I'm not quite sure.
Right.
We've got folks doing research on Lake Champlain and the Lake Champlain watershed. I have students doing research on the geologic evolution of the eastern Adirondack region. Preston Garcia, our microbiologist, has research going on a symbiotic relationship between nitrogen-fixing bacteria and legumes, sort of pea plant type things. He can tell you more about it. And the department submitted a grant to the National Science Foundation to support science student scholarships for the academic year. And that grant is for over $500,000.
Oh wow, that one grant.
That one grant, yeah, we'd get $100,000 each year for scholarship money, and then there's some other dollars in there.
So there are students helping out with the grants.
Currently, oh yeah, that's a major impetus.
And
doing
do you know of any names that people we could talk to?
Oh sure, you could talk to my students would be Kim French,
Oh, yeah, okay.
Tim Marshall, Alex Claudio, Andy Vermillier students who worked on Lake Champlain. That would be Ashley Breen, Kelsey McKay is Preston's student, and Chris, I'll figure out Chris's last name in a minute. Preston just left. I'd hope to actually have those guys here to talk to you if you had any questions for them.
We may come back tomorrow and ask them.
And Molly, whose last name I'm not going to remember either. So last summer we had I had 5 students working for me last summer, about 10 to 11 students funded. The students made, on average, between $4,000 and $5,000 for the summer.
A piece?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that the science department couldn't have done without the help of the grants?
Oh, it's all part of a plan to better prepare our students for success upon graduation. For science students to go on to graduate school or even employment now and be competitive, they really need to have some undergraduate research under their belts.
So it's kind of like helping them prepare themselves for...
Yes, definitely. And it helps us with our research, and hopefully that will lead to publication and further grant money coming in. But it's really, we do it because it's something we should be doing at an undergraduate institution like ours to better prepare our students and hopefully attract more students and retain students.
Right. Do you think there's one foundation that's helped the most?
Yes. Castleton is part of a group called the Vermont Genetics Network, and that's a big grant run through the University of Vermont from the National Institute of Health. And we've had regularly people funded through that program, 2 to 3 people for the past 4 or 5 years in a row. So that's consistent source of funding. And that's supposed to help us build research programs to be competitive with more competitive programs from either the National Institute of Health or the National Science Foundation.
Do you guys have a certain amount you'd like to raise this year?
We don't really think of it as a
goal.
certain amount. We hope the grant I referred to for scholarship funds is currently submitted, but we haven't heard about that.
Okay.
So we'll hear about that sometime early next year, around February. We are in the process of developing a new NSF grant to raise some funds for lab improvements and better ways to teach our labs and some equipment for our labs. So that'll be a big goal. That'll be close to a $500,000 grant. But we just hope to be successful in continuing to bring in some grant dollars, because we really started from ground zero for quite some time. And as I said, for the past 5 to 6 years, we've sort of been trying to develop a new way of doing things.
Hasn't there also been like budget cuts between the departments?
Well, there's college-wide budget cuts.
Yeah.
Every department's had their budget cut.
Yeah. Has that
but-
affected like the science department's like money, like to be able to do like certain things, like?
Sure, it's had a significant impact, but the dollars we bring in are really for research, and
Oh.
the money from the college is really to run our classes,
Oh,
do
okay.
things. So they're two separate sources of funding for two different things.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know that. I thought it was all just one big
Yeah.
conglomerate of money.
No, but the college gets a significant amount of money. When we write a research grant, there's something called indirect costs. And the college gets essentially some money from the granting agency just to allow us to run the grant. And
Oh.
they get a bunch of money that way. So over the past 3 years, we've brought in a total of it's either $528,000 or $538,000 in funds for research and other things to the college.
So that money directly helps the college.
Well, some of it directly helps the college, and most of it goes towards research
Funding.
in our department, and probably the biggest chunk goes to paying students for the summer.
Right. Okay. I think that's all the questions we